This week, Team Chetney makes their way to Uthodurn and tangles with a mythic beast. Let's get into it.
Oh god! Oh god! Someone!
We pick up with Team Chetney directly following the fight between Chetney and Frida, and the group make their way back to the cavern to finish their long rest, and Matt is being very coy about that con save Frida made last time.
Wait, I thought... Didn't you have like a bite?
I did make a roll, yeah.
What? How'd it go?
I guess we'll find out.
Deanna stays up in the night to make sure that Chetney makes it back okay, and he does arrive, tail between his legs, not really remembering what happened, but feeling some sense of guilt. He apologizes to Deanna for not telling her about his condition, and notices that Frida bears the signs of the attack.
Oh shit.
They're okay.
How did... But I took off and...
They went to look for you.
Oh, fuck.
It's okay. Shush.
You don't ever...
People are sleeping.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Deanna heals Chetney somewhat, and he shares some hesitancy about returning to Uthodurn. They both take a level of exhaustion since they stayed up late, and the rest of the party wake up much more refreshed. Imogen pulls up Chetney, saying, you know, this kind of loss of control is not supposed to happen. The Gorgonai are very strict about that, and Chetney, with a natural 20 Arcana check, realizes that the shifting of the ley lines and whatever is happening with Rudis is messing with him somewhat and making it harder for him to control his wolfish abilities. Chetney apologizes to Frida and examines their wounds.
Frida's design is more naturally humanoid, almost like a fully armored humanoid with spaces in between where it looks like there's almost like a leathery tubing and in places that kind of hold it together. And you recall, and you can see kind of some of the wounds. There is almost like a dark brown brackish fluid that's dried in some of the wounds that have healed up. So it's interesting. It's almost like it's an automaton similar to FCG, but slightly more humanoid in the appearance, as well as the scratch marks, the gashes.
Oh no.
I think
It's almost
that's
like
through you.
Matt, would you say that like it's metallic components attached with sort of like a tongue? Like a tongue?
leathery,
No, I would not.
brown leathery.
Lots
Just like a brown
lots
leathery
of
tongue?
tongues sort of.
No, I would not at all.
Thanks,
I would
dear.
not at
Except he
all.
only has one tongue. Frida has.
Are you
Many
you're joining in on this
So
too?
many
You're all
times.
just
I
you're
don't
all
want
just.
any- I want
that's
nothing
fine.
with the
No, it's
tongue.
great.
I want nothing to do
I
with
just
the
hold
tongue.
your fate in my hands.
Yeah, but what about the bite and the con save, Matthew Mercer? Like, it literally didn't come up for the rest of the episode, so did it just have no effect at all and he was just messing with us? Boo! As they are preparing for the day, Frida shares that there are some learned people in Uthodurn who might be able to help with the communication problem that they're having trying to reach Team Ashton. There is a library called the Vellum Steeple located on the Deliberation Disc, and we actually saw this location in Campaign 2 when the party were researching a dragon.
Do you have any books about weasels?
Yes.
Can I see one?
No.
Do you have any books about the Traveler?
Don't know what that is.
What kind of a... Anyway.
They pack up and head off to Uthodurn, traveling for most of the day and arriving in the evening. On the way through, they pass by some goats, which Fern feels a connection to.
I'm part goat, so I just wanted to give little scratches. They were just so cute and fluffy. I'm not even gonna take him, not gonna do anything. I just wanted to just...
buy your part coat? That's crazy.
Well, why?
Because I've not seen that. I'm not judging. I just haven't seen that before.
Well, it's just the way that I'm made. I don't know what to tell you. Is it okay if I...
Yeah, keep
Touch your
petting them. I
goats a
seems to
little
like
more?
it. I'm not stopping you. It just was... Didn't want you coming up trying to steal my goats.
Before they enter, they are approached by a member of the Glassblades, which is the local law enforcement here in Uthodurn, who asks them what they're doing here and what their business is. Frida and Deanna kind of vouch for them, saying that they'll take responsibility, and they are let inside the city. This is a city that is built inside this mountain, underground, with these huge discs that kind of are spiraling around a central column. It's a very cool location, very well known for its black moss cupcakes. To keep Chetney hidden, Frida secretes him under their coat. They've got like apparently little shoulder things on them that Chetney can sort of hang on to and just hide underneath the cloak, and they make their way through the city. Frida and Deanna and also Chetney notice that things are a little different here. It's a lot dimmer. There are these magical enchanted lights throughout the city that just burn constantly, and some of those are not working anymore. And not only that, but there is an air of tension and a sort of bad vibe in general coming from the people of the city. FCG casts Detect Thoughts just to try and get a bit of a read on what's happening.
It's hard to get through here, and the light's so dim. I'm kind of prefer things to be. I'm not like the other dwarves here. I'm just used to it. And then he passes by, and someone else is like, none of the businesses have been closing down today. I know things are a bit, and that kind of lost that as it goes. Somebody else's, man, I wish the temples wouldn't close right now. Everyone's feeling a little out of sorts, and I think they could use some guidance, but and then kind of flitters away as you're kind of just losing folks as they go by.
It's likely that the ley lines are messing up things with magic, and the fact that the temples are closed is quite worrying. It probably means that the people of those temples are experiencing a diminishment of their connection to their deities, and so they're closing up while they frantically try and figure out what's going on. At this general sight and this information, Imogen sort of starts to panic a little bit about what this means.
There's a chance that an entity that is ancient as all fuck has been released on the gods and now is destroying them. And our magic in the world as we know it will end. And therefore, I don't know how many people are going to die because a lot of people are based in magic. Like, what if it happened and Lana's only alive because of arcane purposes and then she's just gone because of it? And
A lot of that is conjecture.
I grab Imogen in a really tight hug.
Oh, it totally breaks my heart to see Laudner and Imogen separated in this way. Just like I talked about last week, Deanna points out that she's a good sort of canary in the coal mine, that she draws her powers directly from a god, the Dawn Father, and so if all of her powers are still available to her, then it means that things are probably okay for now. They continue towards the Vellum Steeple and go past a toy shop, Altgar's Chest, which is the toy shop that Chetney used to work at, and since he's been here, it has expanded quite a bit. It's gotten bigger, it has a second story now, showing that it's doing quite well for itself, even though it, strayed from the tradition of making wooden toys and now deals with metal.
It's wood. There's a purity there. You don't have to do the thing that's in vogue.
The others try and convince Chetney that he may be able to make amends with Altgar, patch things up, but he is still a little unconvinced. And they do have more pressing matters to get to at the moment. Arriving at the Vellum Steeple, they ask the clerk if they can talk to someone who might be able to help them with long-range communication, and this clerk is very harried and frustrated, but does agree to go back and try and find someone. While they're doing that, Chetney goes invisible and sneaks into the library himself and sees that there are about 15 people back here, very hurriedly looking through scrolls, frantically researching, trying to work out what's going on. An elvish woman called Scribe Warden Ressa Uvesic, I hope I said that correctly, comes out to speak with the group about their request. The Scribe Warden explains that there has been, this great diminishment of magic, that teleportation circles are not working, scrying is not working, sending is not working, and that this is an unprecedented event, that there's no record of something like this happening before. The fact that the teleportation circles is not working means that they probably will be staying in Uthodurn for a while. I kind of thought maybe the teleportation circles is how we were going to get around the group separation, but until those are working, the party try and think if there's another way that they can teleport, potentially using tree stride like a druid, but Ressa is like, I don't know any druids, why are you asking me? Of course, we know of a druid in Uthodurn, but who knows if they'll get to meet her. And speaking of druids, we got some more information about the attack on the Ereshari, and specifically on Keyleth in Four-Sided Dive last week.
I did that when I gave all the backstory stuff to Matt about it, like I said that there were, that wasn't my bit. Like I just said, there was some sort of an attack on Keyleth that led to the deaths of these important people to Orem, and the rest was up to him. And even in the early parts of the campaign, like I didn't know why it happened, and Matt gave me the tidbit of saying like it felt like they were testing something. Yeah. And so I just started like connecting all the dots backwards and going, that motherfucker. Yeah. It was such a long game play.
It was such a long game. Because I was thinking about that. I was doing the similar trace. Because I was like, how did they fucking know? How did they know Vax would show up like that? And Matt was like, not the first time Keyleth's been attacked. And I was like, fuck! Like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
So it sounds like Vax might have shown up to that initial attack to save Keyleth, all to test if he would show up in this moment. I find it kind of odd that Aram didn't hear about the Champion of Ravens like waltzing in on this attack where his family died, but perhaps they kept it hush-hush because, you know, they didn't want other people finding out that the Raven Queen was intervening, or the Raven Queen's champion. Or maybe it just never came up. Either way, this long-term plan, ooh, you're good, Matthew Mercer. Surmising that if teleportation and scrying and sending her down, the party don't have to worry about the Ruby Vanguard coming after them for talking about what happened, they decide to be a little more forthright with the Scribe Warden about what happened with the Malleus Key. Everyone is feeling pretty stressed and concerned.
Wow, it all sounds really not possible when you say it out loud, but
It does sound a bit preposterous, but I'm not saying I disbelieve you. I believe that you believe this. And I don't mean to sound insensitive.
But you are, so try a little harder.
Excuse me, I am trying to listen best I can, but I'm also dealing with 17 other problems at the moment. Do you think you're the only individuals to walk in here wanting information? I'm dealing with the diarchy. I'm dealing with all of the various higher nobles here asking about what's going on, because we're supposed to know everything and we don't. So I'm a bit
And the first
anxious.
bit of information that's come in, you are treating quite rudely.
I'm absorbing
Let's
it!
all take the temperature down a little bit. We're all stressed out because of what's going on.
The Scribe Warden, hearing this information, does ask the other librarians and researchers to look into lewdness, so hopefully we'll learn something helpful there. Ressa also shares that because of this diminishment of magic, there have been some troubling events in Uthodurn where things like magical imprisonments, like in the prison system, are failing, so those people are escaping. And Travis realizes that this could mean big trouble if this is an effect that is happening everywhere, because there are certain magical artifacts that are locked behind magical spells, like certain horns of Orcus, or beings like Uk'otoa. Then they hear a large boom from below, which shakes dust from the ceiling and causes the floor to rumble. They rush outside and see people panicking and rushing around, and a front line of glass blade soldiers sort of blocking off one of the tunnels in the city. There are members of the council present, as well as the king and queen of the city, which is a diarchy. One monarch is elvish and the other is dwarvish, and they rule the city together. Some of the crowd call to the guards, asking them to help because there are still people trapped inside with whatever is making this rumbling sound, but they refuse to open the gate. So FCG, using the Fast Friends spell on one of the guards, convinces them to let the party in. However, things are complicated when they realize that Frida, who sort of had climbed up a building to get a higher vantage point to see what was going on, is not with them and has been left on the other side of the door. So after some unfortunate athletics checks, Frida does manage to barrel through the guards and make it back to the party. Behind the door, they discover many dead bodies with huge puncture wounds and slashes and crushing. Ooh. They find someone unconscious who Deanna heals, and they ask what did this to them.
Is the statue the one they keep in the Citadel? It just came to light, started killing folks. We had to rush everyone out. It was already close to the king and queen. We barely got them out. Lost a lot of men.
As we learn through the episode, this statue is one of the great beasts of Velluthil. Velluthil? Ugh, I swear to God. Velluthil is the historical name for the surrounding forest, which is now known as the Savalier Wood, following the corruption and destruction of Malayersmere. These elvish names, man. They all begin to stealth through the neighborhood, looking for and following the creature.
Casting out, you can see down the roadway, following their line, you see the back end of some sort of quadrupedal, faintly glowing beast that is just walking beyond your sight.
Away from us?
Away from you. Back towards the direction of the Citadel. You can just faintly make out this kind of purplish, almost a ruddy red coloration to it. It looks almost like ghostly in the material, but solid at the same time. It's hard to tell, but as it moves around the edge, you can just barely hear the distant. as it vanishes beyond your sightline.
They can't tell if it is hunting or if it is confused, but it is heading towards the Citadel, which is sort of the main building of law and governance for the city, and it's where the statue was originally displayed. As they are deliberating about what to do, people have sort of been moving out of the neighborhood and back towards the gate, trying to get out. They start like banging on the gate, like, let us out! So Chetney tells them to like keep it down, and Deanna casts a Guardian of Faith between them and the creature in case it comes back.
Deanna, like, kind of grabs her staff and slams it on the ground and Nope. Somebody said. There's already so much noise happening around here with all of these people. Yeah. And takes a pose in behind her and then moves through her in front of her, a massive, like, bright golden figure of the Dawn Father, face blazing, stands ready with his mace. Imogen turns invisible and starts sneaking into the Citadel to see if she can learn more about what this creature is. Inside the Citadel, she comes to a throne chamber with 2 chairs, and there is a large plinth where this statue would have stood. The room has a trail of destruction with the columns cracked and the walls and the floor cracked as well, and she sees that this giant bull creature is circling this pedestal. Imogen casts Detect Thoughts on it, and she's not able to pick up specific thoughts, more emotions, and she senses confusion, fear, anger, and longing. She sees a plaque nearby which describes what this creature is, but it's in Elvish, and she can't read Elvish. She psychically calls to the others to come in, and they all sneak in, but Fern, with a very poor stealth check, knocks something over and attracts the attention of the beast. The creature charges towards Fern, and we roll initiative. It does a stack of damage to her and knocks her prone. It kicks out at Deanna, but she avoids the blow with her shield. Fern is up next, and she casts Dominate Beast on it, which actually works! Yes, Matt rules that this creature counts as both a beast and a celestial, which is awesome. I think generally he really wanted this to be more of a social encounter or like a puzzle encounter, like trying to work out what to do with this creature rather than just a straight up combat. So I'm really happy that this worked. Imogen psychically connects with the bull.
We're not here to harm you. I can tell you're lost.
I'll go do it.
Make a persuasion check. You're uncertain if it's picking up on language or word. At best, you're trying to convey emotion.
Calming and...
Go ahead and make a persuasion check. And then we'll get to the rest of you here.
18.
Okay. You're uncertain if it's understanding what you're saying, but it seems to at least your emotions are conveying towards it. We'll see what sort of reaction it has.
Okay. Deanna casts Cure Wounds on Fern and then rushes over to the plaque. She can read it and sees that it says, "In memoriam of the fall of Melasmere." With the creature calmed and charmed by Fern, they sort of all stand off around it and prepare. Frida prepares a blunderbuss directly into its heart just in case. Fern gives it scritches and pats, of course. And FCG, using the spell Tongues so that it can understand him, appeals to it.
Gives out this low, droning, deep, bassy voice that like echoes through the room. You can feel it like in your chest, like a deep, bassy speaker. And as it does, you don't hear language, but you can suddenly understand what it's conveying. And it says, "I don't know how I got here.
Oh.
I need to get home. I was of the forest. I was the Sentinel beast."
Oh, shit. Do you have a name?
Umudara.
Umadara explains that it was only attacking people because they were attacking it, and it was scared and frightened. And Frida says, we'll be able to help you, but you have to stop attacking people. With a group persuasion check, it agrees and asks them to show it the way out. Party are concerned that as soon as they come out of this area with this giant celestial bull, that the guards will just attack. So Imogen and FCG rush ahead and cast Calm Emotions on the crowd and the guards on the other side to try and cool the temperature a little bit and have people actually listen when they try and explain what's happening. There are literally hundreds of guards and people, so it's not enough to, get all of them. They can only get a handful of them, but FCG does manage to hit a more sort of important in charge person with the Calm Emotions.
There's this one elven gentleman who looks old, grizzled, like short gray hair. One eye's a little bit clouded, and he has just like deep set features. Looks like an elderly David Bowie, but like battle worn. And he's wearing the Sentinel armor, and he looks like he has like the cloak is over one shoulder, and it's this deep, rich purple. And you can see the symbol of Uthodurn, like the mountain and the tree wrapping around it, like the two parts of the Earth societies combining on both sides. This is a very decorated individual within the Royal Sentinels here, and this is one of the thankfully one of the figures that was near the door where you came through, and goes, "Don't worry. I can't tell you why, but I feel like I can trust him."
Fern also adds a little bow around Umadara's neck to try and make it look a little cuter, and Deanna casts a aura of life to give it a golden glow. Basically, they're trying to present this bull as being like amazing and mystical and ethereal and like not scary. They move through the city and crowds begin to gather and watch this procession as they make their way up through the different neighborhoods. The king and queen are also watching from above, a connection that will hopefully come in handy later. I'm really excited to see this like ragtag team meet with the monarchy. We saw that quite a bit in campaign 2, sort of the party interacting with these high-level socialites, you know, noble people. So it'll be fun to see how Bell's Hells handle it. As they arrive outside, Umadara is somewhat lost and confused. The landscape has changed quite a bit since it was alive in the time of Melasmir, and it doesn't sense the city anymore, but it says thank you and it heads out. I'm really worried about how it's gonna feel when it finds what's happened. Frida asks,
how many of those things are imprisoned all over Exandria? It's unnatural.
this is a great point. I mean, how is this creature imprisoned and why? Personally, I think that this statue kind of functioned in a similar way to the statues of Waterdeep, that it remains a statue until it is called upon in a time of crisis by like a leader of the city, and then it will be animated to defend the city. It could be that once Melasmir fell, it just stayed as a statue because there was no one to call on it anymore. And then once this diminishment of magic happened, that broke the spell that was keeping it as a statue and reanimating it. It was likely just a statue in the Savalier Wood that the folks of Uthodurn found and brought back to the Citadel, just believing it to be a regular statue. It's really cool to think about it wandering in the Savalier Wood. I wonder if we're going to see it pop up again in campaign 3 or maybe in future campaigns. Maybe it will become like a cool guardian of the forest. Meanwhile, Chetney, who elected to stay behind, is investigating the throne room, determined to find a secret exit of some kind. He's also pilfering the thrones for all of their jewels. I love how he's like, oh, I'm really nervous to come back to Uthodurn because, you know, I might get in trouble with the law. Also, let me immediately break a million laws. But he does finally find a secret staircase with a lever underneath a rug, a staircase which brings him all the way back to the front gate of this neighborhood. As he is escaping, he is noticed by a guard with a natural 1 stealth check, but...
Hey, you! What are you doing?
Help me!
Oh God! Oh God! Someone!
Life is so fragile! Please help!
This person has...
That is where the episode ends. So it looks like our heroes are going to be stuck in Uthodurn, which means we're going to be with Team Chetney for quite a bit. I have seen some of you speculate that we could be staying with this side of the group until Marisha has done the Creator Clash, which is the boxing match that she's a part of later next month. And that means it would be something like 6 weeks until we check in with Team Ashton. I hope it's not that long, but also like I'm really enjoying the vibe of what's happening in Uthodurn. So it's pros and cons. I am excited to see if Chetney will confront Altgar and his past, and how all the Bell's Hells are going to get back together again. Throw all of your theories about that in the comments below, and check out this video where I actually looked at some of the old Ruidus theories that we had about a year ago to see if any of them were correct. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!
Can I have advantage?
Oh,
Just cuz.
Just cuz. DM to DM?
Like, homie to homie.
The DM code?
Amazing. I'm gonna try that.
Can I burn my free advantage?
I tried that all the campaign, you guys.
Do your Illuminati hand signals.
Nope.